All right, guys, this is our fourth episode of the AZVA Podcast. We got a special guest today, Mr. Lukas Pakter, also known as Squid. Is that correct?
Yeah, bro.
Mr.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Owner of SQUIDHAUS. I appreciate him doing this. You guys can tell we're at like a different background than our normal setup because we're actually in Austin, Texas. So I flew out here, mainly for this.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually planning on doing one other podcast with a friend that owns a brand out here. So I was like, I know two guys out here because you responded to my DM. So I was like, let's just run it. But let's get this started. So what I wanted to discuss first was just like having a brand. Like what was your come up? I want you to explain your story. Tell us like how you started, the reasoning you got into it. Because the point of this podcast is to like connect creatives, talk about clothing, and get clothing brand owners on here like yourself. Just wanted to get your story on your come up.
Hell yeah, man. Well, once again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm usually in your seat, so like I'm asking questions, so it's fun to answer them. But let's see, how do we start this story? I've been like a mini entrepreneur since I was a kid. First business was 9 years old. You ever seen Shark Tank?
Yeah.
You know, the Lori Grenier, the younger girl on there. So my first business was like a glow stick business, and she thought it was really cool, so she put it in her book. That got me hooked, right? I was really excited. I was like, wait, somebody big, famous, and successful like believes in me. This is awesome, right? And at that point, I kind of decided like I'm not. This is the only thing I want to do, right? I had multiple jobs in high school. I always worked, so like from an early age, I was obsessed with money, and I started this journey of entrepreneurship because of money. I think almost every kid wants to start a business because they want to get rich one day. But I'm sure you're kind of the same mindset. Once you really start to build something, the money doesn't even matter anymore. The only thing that matters is like the brand success.
Yep.
It's almost like a video game, you know? All you want to do is just build it. It doesn't even matter how much money you're making. You want the business to make as much as possible.
Yep.
So started multiple things in my lifetime, multiple failures, some succeeded, lots of lessons along the way. And then, you know, with SQUIDHAUS, the company I work on now, which is an athletic clothing brand for everyone who's new here, doesn't know my history. It just started with me like wanting to make cool workout clothes. So probably similar to your story.
Yeah.
I didn't like any workout clothes, right? You have brands like Lulu, which are really high quality, but they're not that cool. At least in my opinion, they're a little dorky, little plain. And then you have, you know, some newer trendy workout brands, and they have cool designs, but they're not that good quality. So I was like, there's really nothing that I'm looking for. So I just started creating my own, and started with our first product was shorts. I made a couple hundred pairs, sold it to my friends in college. I was very fortunate that I had a big friend group in college, so a lot of people bought it to support. Sold like, I don't know, probably like $10,000 worth to my whole fraternity, lots of other fraternities, and then with that money, just started the actual business, built a website, launched the Instagram, and then it just kind of started like snowballing from there. You know, I have a decent platform on TikTok, so that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of sales, but helping find like athletes for the brand because they're a big sales channel. So, I started this brand, and then I started making TikToks at the same time. Like, let me document this process, which is why I really like that you're doing this too, because I think it's important. So many people, entrepreneurship is very lonely and it's very isolating. So I think it's good to show people, kind of give them like a bird's eye view of it. You know?
So I have a similar story, and I was curious with like your organic stuff. Did you get into the organic stuff first and then you were like, I want to start a brand because my organic's going so well? Or were you like always in the back of your mind, I want to have this athletic clothing brand, and then the organic started doing really well? Because I noticed a lot of people on TikTok, they're either like really good at organic and they're really good at being an influencer, or there's people obviously that are like really good at having a business. But it seems like you're very good at both. So it's like, how did you how did that situation happen? Like, I know you mentioned you were doing businesses from when you were younger, but was the clothing aspect of it one of those things where like, I want to capitalize on my following? Or were you always like, the clothing is what I want to do, this is my passion? Like, what was, that's
a great question, honestly. And I think you kind of hit it right on the head. I'm connected with a lot of creators and entrepreneurs, and you're 100% right. You're either an influencer or an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of entrepreneurs that would love to start content, create personal brands, but they have no idea how to talk to the camera.
Yeah.
They don't really know how to sell themselves. And then you have a ton of influencers who are, their skill is entertaining, but they cannot for the life of them run a business. That's why they need an agent or someone on the back end. They need a partner to run the business, right? So for me, they started at the same time. And my thought process was, when I was growing up, I always thought I wanted to start a tech company because it's so powerful, right? You create the brand, you build the product once, and you can sell it a million times if it's good, obviously.
The world too,
yeah. Clothing has a stigma behind it. Oh, it's clothing, and it's because anyone can do it, right? And you've probably seen a lot of this.
Yeah.
No barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Any kid with an idea and a couple $100 can start a clothing brand. So it might be,
which we've seen on TikTok.
Oh yeah, and I get DMs about it all the time. It might be the easiest business to start, honestly, out there, because there's so many outlets for it. But it also might be the hardest one to succeed at because there's so much competition, because it's all cash flow based, as you probably understand. Like, you have to wait until you sell your current stock in order to order more, at least in the beginning days, which is hard. And you have to max credit cards, and you're probably bootstrapping it. So it started with a couple $1,000. Like, it's tough, right? And if you have a really cool product, it doesn't even mean people want to buy it, right? You have to be good at advertising. So for me, I started the TikTok at the same time I started the brand. Like, literally started posting as I was coming up with designs. And my thought process behind it was like, I'm going to document the journey, and my content's not even really going to be about the clothing brand very much so. Like, maybe 1 to 2 videos out of every 20 are about SQUIDHAUS, right? Most of it's like the life of an entrepreneur, right? Self-help, growth. Some of my videos are even as far out as like talking about relationships, mindset, gym, right? It's like all things self-help and growth. And only a little bit of it is actually about my business. So I just try and make my content as helpful as possible. And then every once in a while I'll plug it, and like talk about a recent success or failure. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been helpful in its growth for sure. But sales wise, I think most of our sales don't come from me. A bit of them do. Most of them come from like our athletes and other people wearing it. So that's why I didn't want to make it completely attached to my TikTok. Kind of just yap there for a second, but I definitely started them at the same time because I knew they would build off of each other. And I found that it's very helpful. Like, the better the business does, the more authority I have as an influencer, I hate that word, a creator. Like, if the business is really successful, then when I make a claim about something, people might be like, oh, maybe he does know something about this, right? And then the more successful the TikTok or the YouTube or whatever is, the more people see the brand. So it's an inverse relationship.
And I want to mention something that you talked about in that response, which was a great response, is the cash flow aspect of things. And I think a lot of that term right there is something, and like I said before, this podcast, as I've said in other episodes, is to help people. Like, I want people watching this to be able to learn and take advice from this and take inspo from people that are successful in their fields. And I want to talk about cash flow because a lot of people, I don't think, really understand the term, understand what it means, understand the importance of it to a business, and understand how it affects like the business's day to day. And especially in clothing, like you said, which is one of those things where it's like you always get the comments, I don't know if you've had to deal with this, but like, when's my order shipping? Like, when's this? Like, sometimes there's delay in orders because of the cash flow aspect of the business, like having to order clothes like a little after you drop it just to be able to like use some of the money from the sales to buy the clothes is like a big reason. So I wanted to ask you, going off that point, that was just like a little kind of like, because I know you probably dealt with the same thing, like people commenting like
100%.
Yeah, like, where's my order? Why isn't it here right away? Like, all these things, and like cash flow is a big part of that. But what I want to go off of with that is, I asked like every person on the podcast this, what is one story that you have that was like, holy shit, this wasn't just an awful moment for my company? Because I want people to know that even if you have a bunch of followers, even if people think the business is going amazing, that you're making all this money, there's a lot more to it than people understand. And there's always shit going wrong in a business, whether you're Apple or you're a person that's just starting.
100%.
So I'm curious, like if you have a good story about something that has happened in your journey that was like, fuck, I want to quit. Like this is like taking me to the point where it's breaking me and this is like game over, but you push through because as a business owner, that's like the most important part. I feel like the people that make it are the people that just didn't give up. And yeah, so I'd love to hear a story about something that happened to you that almost like broke you and yeah, like ruined you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's lots of different types of clothing brands, right? You have ones that are based off drops and then ones that are, you know, constant selling, right? So in like a fashion brand sense, a lot of them are based off drops, probably like yourself. I've never done drops, so I won't have anything listed on the site unless it's in the warehouse ready to go. So I've never had like some crazy customer service complaints about shipping. Like normally, like my rule is like a customer needs to get their stuff within, if they place a big order, it needs to be within 5 days. If it's like one pair, it needs to be within 7 days max. And if it takes longer than that, usually we like refund them and they still get their thing. It just takes longer. But a big disaster, I guess you could say, was, and hopefully someone learns from this and they don't make this mistake I did, but it was my first year in the clothing business. And, you know, no matter how cool your stuff is, there's seasons, right? So our biggest product, our staple product, is shorts. Sales in the summer, last summer, skyrocketing, higher than we've ever been before. I just graduated college. I decided not to get a job, focus on this. And everyone's buying our shorts, right? And it's doing pretty well. Like I think over the summer, in June or July, we hit like 70K a month, which for me was really exciting because, you know, a year prior, if we hit 7K a month, like when we first started it back in September, if we hit 7K a month, that was awesome. Like, oh my God, $7,000, right? Then we hit 70 almost in, July, I think it was. And that was really big. But because our sales are, you know, growing and growing and the demand for shorts is getting higher, I just start putting all the money back into shorts, right? And I'm not even really focusing on any new products. I'm just buying more shorts. Yeah. And it's going well. And then it hits like early October, starts to get cold out and sales start tanking. So, you know, all of a sudden it's like we're doing a couple thousand a day at that point, and then it starts dropping to 1,000 and then 500. And you can just see the sales on the chart. Like I check my Shopify still to this day, like every fucking 30 minutes, honestly. I love to see like what's going on.
You have the notification on that gives you the...
No, I don't have the notification on because that would really like, that'd be a lot. But sales start tanking and I realize what's going on. And I'm sitting on the side of my bed and I'm like, oh my God, right? Every dollar we have is in shorts. I have probably 250K worth of shorts in our warehouse and like no money in the bank. Because people are buying it, like why not buy more? That was my thought process, right? It was just rookie move. And so it's starting to get colder, demand is going down, and all we have is summer products, and we're now going into the winter, and we have not prepared at all. And it's 100% a disaster. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna either have to sit on this inventory all winter, because it's gonna get worse. Like the colder it gets, the fewer people are gonna buy. And then I have no money. I have no cash flow. I can't buy new stuff, right? You can't even buy winter I couldn't buy winter products because I had no money left in the bank. It was all in shorts. So I'm thinking, all right, there's a couple options here. Number one, I sit on this for the whole winter and I make $0, or at least like very little. And then I just restart once it starts getting nice out in March. Option two is like I take out a loan, like I don't know, maybe I hit up family or I go to the bank and, you know, get like a new credit limit or something, or we try and get investors. Those were our only three options, really, honestly. And none of those are good options, right? I don't want to ask my parents or my aunt or something for money. You know, that's embarrassing.
Sorry to cut you off. When was this? Was this like recently?
This was last October.
Okay.
Right. And so I made a video like making a joke like, yeah, this is why my dad gave me 250K for my clothing brand. That was a lie. Like it was literally just a joke. I started it with my cousin with 9K. I'm very prideful. I actually had a lot of issues with my parents growing up in terms of like this whole entrepreneur thing. Like they were not the most supportive at first. So I would rather like sleep in my car than go back home and ask them for help. And I'm starting to get over that right now. But, you know, my only option was pretty much like go to the bank and beg for a loan or somehow invest, like raise some money. And then out of nowhere, I remember just sitting on my bed, like really stressing, contemplating the options and just like telling myself like, you know what, it's going to be fine. It always is. No reason to stress. Stress isn't going to do anything anyway, but it'll work out. And literally the next day we get on TikTok Shop, and I was one of the first brands on TikTok Shop to actually like one of the first legit brands. There's a lot of like Temu type products and like combs and like hairspray bottle. There's a lot of like one-off products, but we were one of the first brands on TikTok Shop, and it saved us. We sold out like right away. So then all of a sudden our sales go from like they're going really well to they crashed in October, and then in November and December they skyrocketed, right? Or no, the end of October and the end of November, the sales skyrocket. We had like our first 150K month. It was awesome. And we were completely sold out for almost all of December and January, which is why our sales were pretty low for those 2 months.
Yeah.
But it gave us like a lifeline. Now we can chill a little bit. We can, prepare now for the spring. So that was a long story. But yeah, it kind of was like by the grace of God or something like, it just kind of happened out of nowhere. I was very worried. I don't even really believe in like a higher power or anything, but I just remember sitting there thinking like, damn, this is fucked. Like I was sitting there thinking like, dude, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, how did I not prepare for this? How did I not put 2 and 2 together that like summer products are not going to sell forever and you need to start preparing for the winter? And I just got caught up in the sauce, and then, we got screwed, but thankfully we're okay now. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that story because I actually like went through the same thing my first year. Because I feel like a big thing about clothing is preparation, and the biggest brands, it's crazy because I talk to a lot of big brand owners. I go to conventions. I talk to manufacturers, and the biggest brands are preparing like almost a year in advance.
Oh yeah, sometimes
more than a year, and it's pretty crazy because they like do the trends and they trend forecast and they prepare like a year or 8-9 months ahead of time. And so in my first year it was the same thing. We actually blew up off of our mesh shorts on TikTok as well. We were just making designs like streetwear stuff, and that's how our brand kind of got going and started getting like consistent cash flow was from mesh shorts on TikTok also. So we ran into the same problem. Like our first winter I was like, oh shit, wait, it's like, because I live in Arizona. I know you went to college out in Arizona.
Scottsdale?
Yeah, I'm in Scottsdale. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so like out there it's like always hot. So I was like, not always hot, but it's like always warm enough to wear shorts except for like maybe like 1 month a year. So I was just like not really noticing anything. I'm like, oh, I'm still wearing shorts. And then all of a sudden like our sales, same thing, like dropped. I was like, oh, we have to like make hoodies now. And then it's like you have to figure out, it's a completely different process of making shorts. You have to find a new manufacturer sometimes, like, because not all manufacturers are going to be good at the same thing. So yeah, it's like it was a shit show also, but you push through and you figure it out. But I also want to talk about like the importance of building a brand and like advertising, because I think a lot of people in your position, because I see your ads and I run a lot of paid ads, and like paid ads are the way to go for consistency in my opinion. And to build any big brand you're going to have to use paid ads. And I think like a lot of people that would be in your position wouldn't utilize that because you get organic views constantly. You're having eyes on your stuff constantly. That's going to translate into a decent amount of sales just from the organic views that you're getting on your profile. So it's like a lot of people wouldn't like take that extra step to get into paid advertising because it's scary, because you're putting money into something that's an unknown, like everything that we do in business. So it's like, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the importance of building an actual brand and building the brand side of things, and then your advertising. And like a specific ad that I saw that I noticed that was really cool was the guy wearing your shorts. He was like missing one leg? One leg or two both legs? One leg?
One leg.
All right. Yeah. So I was like, that was a really cool ad. Like when I saw that, I like for a second I was like, oh, I thought this was like Nike. Like it was sick. And I was
hell yeah, bro. I'm glad.
Yeah. So I saw that ad and I was just like, that was really cool. So I want to hear your input on just like your advertising. You don't have to give obviously your exact strategies or whatever, but just like the importance of building a brand, the importance of marketing and advertising and finding unique ways to advertise, because that's like a big struggle for a lot of people. So
yeah, I mean, that's something I'm trying to figure out right now myself. Like I spend next to nothing on ads. Like I have 3 Instagram posts that are boosted on the Instagram app, so it's not even using like an ad platform or it's not even using Facebook ads, right? And I'm boosting it on Instagram app itself.
Okay.
$25 a day, reaches a couple thousand people, right? Like ads were something that I was 100% intimidated by. Didn't know what I was doing, blowing money at first on random shit, no results. Didn't even really know if I was getting results or not, because I didn't know what I was doing. And then when the whole TikTok shop thing started, like we just sold out of everything. So my ads have pretty much been paused, except for like a couple Instagram posts, like the one you saw with the guy with one leg. And then
I was seeing that so often. I was like, he has to be running. So I guess
I
just
spent
boosted
$25 a day, bro. That's it. And it's targeted towards like I have a little audience thing on there. I chose demographics or whatever, but it's $25 a day. It's like nothing. And so I have an ads team ready. These guys have done shit for a lot of other brands. They really like me. They really like the brand. And so they're ready to get back into it, and they've kind of been strategizing like how we're going to start hammering it starting next month. But dude, that's something that I'm trying to figure out right now. I think you're 100% right. You need both, right? Like you need an organic side of the business, and you also need a paid marketing side of the business. I think we've been really good for organic, right? Like we have a lot of valuable supporters. Like the fact that our ad spend is, let's see, it's under like $500 a month, and we're doing like over 100K a month. Like that's solid, right?
Oh yeah,
that's all organic. But
amazing.
In order to keep scaling, there needs to be ads for sure.
Yeah.
So, you need to build an organic side of the business, and the way you do that is just story. Like that's why I love why you're doing this right here. Like it's just telling a really cool story. And a lot of times if it's like attached to a founder. So for me, I would say I'm probably the face of the brand. My partner, he's just as instrumental, but he's more behind the scenes. You look at a brand like Represent, right? I forget the dude's name, George, I think.
Yeah.
Right? He's the face of that brand.
Brothers or
brothers or cousins. Actually, I think they're twins. I think
they're
you're
brothers,
right.
Yeah.
You have Gymshark, Ben Francis, like a lot of brands.
Guys.
Huh?
The UK guys.
Yeah. So if you want to build a brand organically, you need a story behind it, right? Like you can have great creatives and you can have a great ads team, but if no one understands the history and what you're trying to build, then, I think it'll be short-lived. So you need to have both pieces of the puzzle. And the ads part is what I'm trying to figure out right now. And it's a challenge, and I'm excited to get back into it and start to have to play around and throw money in different areas. But yeah.
It's funny. It's like we're like the opposite, because like I've actually, like my brand has been built on, because I don't have an organic following personally. Like people, I have a small one just for my brand. Our brand has a decent organic following like through TikTok originally, but then stuff kind of died out once I got into ads, and I just like never really, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out now, like the organic side of things. But like my company, we've hit those 150K, 175K months off paid ads. So it's like now I'm like, if only I could have, and we're spending, when we're hitting those months, we're spending 30, 40, 50K. That's
still solid. Wait, so what's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your CPA?
It depends, so what we do with ads, is.
What's your ROAS?
Yeah, so for our ads though, it's tough because we're on so many different platforms. Yeah. We're running ads on TikTok, we're running ads on Instagram, we're running ads on YouTube, we're running ads on Google. Every ad is going to have a different CPA, every ad is going to have a different ROAS, and we're running, what my strategy was I shotgun test, and I can give you, if you want to ask me questions like after the podcast, whatever, like awesome. I can definitely like help you out with some ad stuff, and I want your advice on organic too. Dude, so it's like definitely help each other out there. But what we do is we like shotgun ads, just I come up with ideas for creatives, whether it's a video, whether it's a still picture, whether it's a flat light image, and we shotgun just different audiences, different locations, different strategies within our ads. And every platform we have to create different ads for, because the ads that work on TikTok aren't going to work on Instagram. The ads that work on Google aren't going to work on Instagram or TikTok. The ads that work on YouTube aren't going to work on. So it's like every single platform that you're creating ads for, we create different creatives for those, and we shotgun test. And then once one works, we scale it up. The ones that don't work, we cut out, and we rinse and repeat that process. And like we hit over $1 million in sales last year,
nice.
Off just like pure ad spend and not really much of an organic presence. Like we post organic videos here and there. We're never getting more than, I'd say, 20, 30K views on stuff. It's very like, it's a lot of marketing, and that's where I've taken pride in my business is I've been the one that's like handled the marketing, and I learned a lot about it, and I've had some people help me within the company. But so it's like I'm really trying to learn that organic side of things now, because I feel like once you, like you said, if you have both, that's when a company becomes unstoppable. Sure. That's how Broken Planet Market, that's how Gymshark, that's how Represent, that's how the biggest names in the industry that are raking in millions a month are, because they're hitting the aspect of the paid advertising, the organic, the word of mouth, and then it just like compounds on itself. When you have all that omnipresence on so many different platforms, it's like you're unstoppable. So it's like that's like one of those things where it's just like super important. So it's cool to hear that we like kind of have opposite
and
strengths.
I'm always down. I mean, I love talking to people who are, you know, their strengths are my weaknesses, right? So I'm totally down after to kind of brainstorm with you. But yeah, I think it's, you know, same with the influencer thing earlier and people owning businesses. Like usually it's very rare for someone to have both. That's why it's great to have a partner, you know? But yeah, so we're trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah. So what is your, I'm curious, because I don't really know much about, like, I've just seen your company on Instagram. I haven't really seen, I've seen a lot of your content, but it's mostly just like your TikTok stuff where you're talking about random advice or whatever. So I haven't really heard much about the back end of your company. So like whatever you're comfortable sharing, I'm curious, like what your company consists of, how many employees you have. Do you have your own warehouse? Do you use like a consolidated warehouse space? Like what is your logistical, like day-to-day stuff look like within your company? Like how many people are involved, like that kind of thing? Yeah.
Well, I'm an open book. I love talking about this stuff because number one, I think what's really cool is like the more helpful you are, the more people want to support you, right? So I love talking about this stuff because I wish I had heard someone talk about it when I was starting. And then, you know, even some other kid, they might go start their own clothing brand. They're still going to support yours, right? Yeah. If you gave them some sort of helpful advice. So for me, to answer your question, we have a lot of people involved. Most of the people involved, I don't even know what the right word would be, but I would just call them experts on like one thing, and they work for multiple companies.
It's like contracted work.
Exactly, contractors, right? So, you know, me and my cousin are the ones that started the brand. That's our main priority. We have 2 employees. One is like our head of athletes. We call him head of athlete acquisition. And then we have a creative director. Those would be like the guys that work solely for us. And but they also, like, one of them's a, you know, college soccer player, D1 soccer player. The other one's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like they're both studs and they have their own stuff going on, but they help us and like they're helping grow on the brand. And then we have like everything from our ads guys who have been on hold to our email guy, design team, warehouse, like all these other people that we employ also work for other companies too. Gotcha. Like the warehouse, for example, right? We used to pack and ship everything out of my cousin's garage, and we saved a lot of money doing that, but it was like 6 hours a day of like your fucking back hurting,
wasting time,
and then responding to customer emails. Like, and you save money. Like when I tell people how much we spend like per order fulfillment, right? They're like, that's crazy. But like, you know, it saves me a couple of minutes, right? Which I can spend like trying to hire somebody that's important, right? Or coming up with a new idea for something or a new sales channel, right? So it's just like buying back time. And then obviously we have all of our athletes who do affiliate marketing too. So there's probably like 50 to 80 people involved in the business, but they're not all employees. Like I'm not paying 50 to 80 people $50K a year. Like some of them make $20K a year. Some of them make $300 because they play a very, very small role, you know?
Yeah,
so
for sure. Cool.
Hope that answers the question.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like the main thing for me too with just like streamlining things, like you mentioned, the 2 biggest things that allowed me to do what I'm actually good at was the packing orders and the customer service. And I still like help here and there. Like I still help with it.
Where do you guys do that? At your house?
So I actually I have a warehouse in Arizona. Yeah, so it's like a little I wouldn't say little, it's like decent size. But it's like it holds all our inventory. We pack orders out of there. It has a dock, so they come UPS that comes every day. Post office comes every day. We ship out orders every day. So but that's kind of where. But
and is it your warehouse or
so it's actually so it is my warehouse. I pay rent on it, but it's not like. How it works is there's a building and there's consolidated warehouse spaces within the building. So I just I rent a section of the warehouse technically, but we have our own space and it's nice. It's like a really nice Like there's like a kitchen, bathrooms, Wi-Fi, air
That's
conditioning.
dope. I bet that's one thing I'm excited to. Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're good.
that's one thing I'm excited is like we're gonna move our headquarters and like build up an actual headquarters out here in Austin probably in the fall.
Yeah.
And literally every single person that works for our business right now is all in a different location and it's all online. So I'm excited to actually have like get back to the garage type feel where we're all showing up to work every single day and seeing each other and laying shit out on the floor and looking at it like, you know, that's one of the more fun parts of the business I can imagine,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Are you in there every single day almost?
Oh yeah, when I'm in town, I like to travel. I love going places for work and for just like travel for fun. But so when I am in Arizona though, yeah, I'm there every day. And honestly, I'll tell you the honest answer about it is that since we did that, I've felt a lot better about everything. It's like separating, because I started too just out of my garage, packing orders out of my literally out of my house, like and I had roommates at the time, so they're like stepping over mesh shorts.
How long ago was that, by the way? When did you
so I started so how I started my company was by reselling vintage. This was like in high school a long time ago. I'm 25 now, so gotcha. This was like when I was like 14 15 reselling vintage. I did that up until I was like 20. And then this was July of 2021, I like created my website. So I actually like got my LLC, made it an actual business, and I was just selling vintage on my website. And then the TikTok stuff blew up in like 2022, like midway through, like May. And then, yeah, I got my warehouse in September of 23. So this has been pretty recent, but I just hired my first employee in March of 23. Now I have 5.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats by the way, bro.
Yeah, thank you. No one's full time. Everyone's like part time, works like 9 to 2, but it's still like every day, you know, like we're working. And I have my main thing was I wanted to bring everything in house because I just felt that I had a guy that was working for me remote and he did a great job. There's nothing wrong, like he was doing a really good job, but I decided to just bring someone in Arizona for that exact reason of just wanting us to, because I look at business as like a sport in a way. It's like you're building a team of people with the same goal and you're trying to win, right? And you're trying to be the best. You want to be the best in your field. You want everyone to recognize you for being the best in your field. And I felt that when I was like bringing everyone in, it created that atmosphere that people were like, okay, let's do this. Like we're in this together, as opposed to me having to like call, be like, yo, what are you up to? Like, you know, it's
100%.
Like, yeah. So like having that in person was like huge for us. And I felt, and it also just like everyone can collaborate, right? Where, because like in our field, I'm in streetwear, so it's like very creative based. You have to put something out that's fresh and new, and people want something that's unique. Our market is people wanting unique clothes. So it's like when we're all bouncing ideas off of each other in person, it just makes a huge difference. And then the only employee I have that's actually not in Arizona, she actually lives in like another country and she does my customer service. So but other than that, it's just like, yeah, everyone's in house and it's great.
It's more fun that way. And you know, like I love not having to pack orders and stuff anymore, but I do miss like, you know, being in there with my cousin and hanging out with him, and we'd play music and work on stuff, and maybe like he would pack while I answer emails or whatever. And everything, yeah, like I said, everything's online right now. And the reason for that was just like, you know, I guess just circumstances change.
Yeah.
But you know, he's finishing up college, so he's going to come out here to Austin is the plan. And then we're going to set up shop again. So I'm really excited for that.
That's cool.
It's
yeah.
hard being all online in terms of like the
cohesiveness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to go into, like you said, you started this with your cousin. Do you guys, like, how does that ownership, is it 50-50? Is it 50-50? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then does that, because like I've had friends that have worked with me on like little projects, and I've never done anything with family, like business related. So I'm curious, like, does that cause any sort of issues for you guys? I mean, it's obviously family, so it's a little different than it being your best friend, but I've heard a lot of just like awful stories of people being like, oh, I started the company with my best friend and now I don't have a company and I don't have a best friend. So it's like, I'm curious, does that cause any issues for you going in on it with someone that you're like so close to, blood related?
That's a good question. And I think, yeah, I mean, most of the time you do hear like horror stories like that, and it sucks. And I think that's because people start businesses with their friend or their family because they're their friend or their family, and not because they're actually a good partner.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, your best friend, hey, let's start a business together, bro. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I have started multiple businesses with friends. I got screwed over by like one of my high school best friends a couple years ago, right? And that sucked.
Yeah.
Same thing, lost the business. I'm still friends with him because, like, you know, I don't like to burn bridges completely and stuff, but you know, with my cousin, we're very alike. We're very similar. He's a year younger, so there is a little bit of an age difference. But we've always been. I'm 22.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm 30 though, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
dude, you're young. Damn.
Yeah, I'm young. I feel like I'm 30 though. I've, you know, started multiple businesses. All my friends, most of my friends are 25 to 35 years old.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with older people because it's good to like soak up information from people that have their shit figured out, you know? But yeah, I mean, the cool thing about being with family is, I guess it's not, you know, guaranteed, but number one, I trust him and he trusts me. It's really hard. Even today, like today's been a long day for me because another business that I started about a year ago, an old co-founder who was kind of cut out came back for some revenge this morning and like leaked a ton of documents about our business. And now there's this whole thing on TikTok. I don't know if you saw like this beef that's going on TikTok with me and this guy Arya. Do you ever see him?
Oh, I actually was gonna bring that up.
Yeah,
so I see these videos all the time with you guys, and I'm like, is this like actually real? Or
I'll address that in a second, actually. So let me finish the other point. But the cool thing about you know, our relationship, me and my cousin right now, in terms of business and our family, is like we definitely argue. And there's definitely times when he's like, bro, we need to do it this way. And I'm like, no, we need to do it this way. Most of the time we agree, probably 95% of the time. But the cool thing is we're bound by circumstances, right? There really is no like cutting someone out, to be honest, without like an entire family being destroyed. So if there isn't like, there needs to be collaboration. You know what I mean? We're forced to figure it out, I think. And that's the problem with like so many relationships, even in terms of like, whether it's friendships or partners today, like your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, people have like one big fight and they just break up. You know, like that's not how it should be. Like you're supposed to fight, you're supposed to argue, and then you're supposed to figure it out, right? So with me and my cousin, even though once again it is collaborative and it is, you know, 95% of the time we're agreeing on everything, every once in a while I might really think we should go right and he might really think we should go left, and we just have to figure it out. Yeah. Right? There is no like way around it. And sometimes when you do think you are 100% in the right, you're not. And it's good to have somebody else that's there to kind of check you. And there's definitely been times when, you know, he said, let's do it this, and I didn't agree, but we decided to go his way and he was right. And then the other way around as well. Yeah. So, I mean, I just love it, dude. And it's, you know, business is kind of like war. And there's people that are trying to take you down all the time, and it's competitive, and you know, it's cutthroat.
Especially for you. I mean, I haven't had experience people directly coming after us, but I've noticed people copy our designs. I've noticed, I mean, it's fashion, there's trends, it's whatever. I don't really get caught up in that shit, but it's like, but with you, it's like you have eyes on you constantly.
Dude, there's always people trying to fucking screw me. It's crazy. And yeah. We can talk about that right after. But
I haven't had to deal with that, but dude, I can't even imagine.
I hope you don't have to, but when you put yourself on social media, like that's what happens.
Yeah.
And
especially you though, because you're very
polarizing.
I just feel like you don't give a shit about what people think about you, which is a good thing though. It's like that's how it should be. Like when you're being yourself. A lot of people try and portray an image of something that they want to be, but it's like you're not going to get real interaction from that. Like you're being yourself and people like that. That's why they're drawn to you and your brand. So it's like, I mean, it's kind of just like what you're setting yourself up for, but it's like a good thing. It's why you're also successful though. It's like, I mean, so it comes with both territories, right?
The most polarizing people usually have the greatest personal brands. Like, you know, whether you like him or not, a guy like Portnoy, Elon Musk, Trump, they have a shit ton of people that like would love to wake up one day and see in the news that they died, right? But they also have people that are just diehard fans. Mm-hmm. Like that's why Elon Musk doesn't spend any money on marketing for Tesla, because people just fucking love that dude. But there's a shit ton of people who would love to see him dead, right? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't consider myself to Elon Musk at all. But I think like haters and stuff like that can be good, because you're not going to please everyone anyway. Mm-hmm. There's so many different types of people. And if you are polarizing, it almost like strengthens the people that support you. And that goes back to like building a brand and a community once again. But at least, you know, me and my cousin being in this together, I know that even though I'm the one that's on social media, at the end of the day, like I have someone I can really trust. And I've been screwed over multiple times and it fucking sucks. and it's just like, it's stressful, so it's just really awesome. Like, if I have to give up, I mean, to be honest, there's really no negative about it, honestly. Like, it's great. If you can find someone that's just like a perfect partner, then, you're very lucky, and it's going to succeed.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of business owners, it's like, I personally don't have a partner. I own 100%. I started this on my own. There's a specific guy in my company that's very involved. So we've like had discussions. But
like investing or something like that?
No, in terms of like actually like within the company, like just like a big part of the company. So we've had discussions about like doing maybe in the future, like making it become a partnership if it gets to the point that we want it to, like growth wise. But sorry, I don't remember where I was going with this.
I think, not that you need to listen to my advice or anything, but I think it's really important to give away a piece of your pie. I think so many people want to keep it all to themselves. But you look at every single billionaire, every single massive company on the Fortune 500, no owner, there's not a single one where one person owns the whole thing, right? There's investors, there's partners, there's advisors, there's simply like people who just like you didn't have to pay early on and you give them a little chunk, And I think, I don't know how familiar you are with like vesting and everything, but when you give your employees a piece of the pie, they're going to work a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to stay late.
Yeah.
And if you can't pay their bill one day, they're not going to hound you as much. My 2 employees right now, we're working with our lawyers to set them up on a scheduled contract, right? So over the next 4 years, they'll get like 0.5% a year or something. I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. But I think not only is it just the right thing to do if someone is absolutely paramount in the success of something, but you're giving them the opportunity to work a little harder, right? Sacrifice a little more, have some skin in the game. Or maybe you could simply go to your partner and be like, yo, do you want to invest, right? The idea of him putting some money in, like, I don't know how hard he works right now. It's probably really hard, but something to consider. I think it's really important. And I like giving away a little piece of the pie. That way someone else can feel like it's theirs too, so that they do work a little harder.
I think the main thing for me too about that, and I agree with that completely, and it's just about finding the right time, and obviously person is important. Like trust is a big thing. Like you got to have 100%. Like if I'm going to give a percentage of my company to someone, it's like I need to trust them like they're my family, like they're my brother, like, so it's like that's the number one thing. And then I think the other thing is just timing. Like cuz I'm fronting like obviously all the money. It's like I'm managing all the cash flow. So I think
risk.
Yeah, so I think the person that wants to come in and be a partner needs to be able to like, manage risk and like be able to put risk and put stuff forward and like bring like financial stuff to the table too. So yeah, but I definitely agree. It's just a matter of timing. I think it's just like one day it will happen. Just like waiting for the right time within the company.
Sure, take your time. It's a big decision for sure, but
yeah, it's like little trust issues, but
yeah,
but yeah, it's part of it. But yeah, if you want to touch on the stuff with this, so I honestly, I don't know who this guy is, and I hope he doesn't come after me now for bringing this up. But no, I'm just kidding.
It's not really a beef, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, I can't tell if it's like these guys actually talk to each other as friends and this is like a script and they're just like doing it for views, or if it's more just like this guy, like, I don't even know what the exact situation is. I've seen a few random videos he talks about how he started a company and it's better than what you've done. I don't know. I haven't really gone into it too detailed. I don't spend too much time on TikTok, but I have seen it just from like going on your page and stuff. So yeah, like I'm curious what the hell's going on. What's going on with that?
I mean, yeah, when you put yourself in the spotlight, like there's a lot of good that comes out of it, but you put a target on your back. And this guy in particular is just like, he's like my biggest enemy and my biggest fan, I think, because he'll like make video. I never talk about this guy, but all he does is make videos about me. Like my page is like helpful growth advice, and his page is all just trolling.
Does he get views from it? Or is it?
The videos he makes about me get the most views. That's why he does it.
Yeah.
But we also like text, and it's crazy because he'll like make a video shit talking me, and then he'll have his whole army come after me in my comments. And then he'll text me and be like, yo, by the way, like, we should totally work together. And like, that's what literally happened today. And so, I don't know. I think it's definitely annoying and shit. But I look at it as like, if that's the price I have to pay for like all the benefits of social media, which have been insane, like every single big thing that's happened in the last 2 years of my life has been a result of social media, right? All the athletes we brought on, most of them were brought on by our athlete guy. Met him through social media, met the creative director through social media. A lot of our sales are through my social media. All my friends here in Austin, right? I just released this new awesome product that did crazy well on its first day. And it's because like all the Austin runners and TikTokers like really like me and they're really cool, genuine guys, and they wanted to help, you know? So there's so many benefits to putting the target on your back, but there's going to be negatives too. And yeah, I mean, the beef, like, I mean, I think it's annoying as fuck. Like, I wish the dude could like focus on somebody else, you know, but maybe it's a good thing, dude. I don't know. Like, maybe it's a good thing when a lot of negative attention comes to you, because it, once again, it might strengthen like
just extra eyes.
Your point. Yeah. Who knows?
What got you into like social media? Like, what made you decide one day? Because how I found your account was when you were talking, and I think this was you. Like, I'm not 100% sure. I'm like trying to remember exactly how I found your account the first time. I'm pretty sure it was when you were talking about how you had some gym membership. Was that you?
Oh yeah, that was my first. So yeah, that's a good.
It was like super expensive gym membership to try and get around people, and everyone was like hounding you in the comments. And I actually saw that video. It was like you post something, you were like, I got a gym membership that was like $5 a month because I want to be around CEOs. I don't want to go to like some shitty gym with like stupid people there. And everyone, now I don't know, those aren't your exact words, but like everyone was commenting like, who the hell does this guy think he is? Like, this is stupid as hell. Like, this guy. Sure. And then but in my head I was like, this guy's a genius. Like, this is like great content, and it's like it's actually a good point. It was just how you said it was like kind of people were like whatever. But that's how I
trying to make it a little viral, you know, because sometimes I do like change some words out to make it extra viral worthy, whatever, you know, that's part of the game. But yeah, my content started as like workout shit, right? Flexing, cringy ass gym videos, but there's way too many of those.
Suck your stomach.
Yeah, bro, there's way too many of those guys out there. I didn't look that great, and my editing and my camera quality wasn't that like great, so there's just no chance that was gonna work. And I posted like 700 videos of me doing gym shit, no traction whatsoever. 6 months all wasted. And then one day I put like one video out about like how I network with people. And like you said, a lot of people thought it was really smart. A lot of people thought it was ridiculous. And that's best
how you get a video get viral.
That's the best type of video, bro, because that's like, it builds your audience and it gives you these haters. It's like,
and everyone's commenting. It's like,
everyone's fighting each other, and you have people like doing the bidding for you. Like, you have people defending you in your own comments at the people that think you're like an idiot, right? It's awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, my content has kind of changed over the years a little bit, but in general, it's been like self-help type advice. Yeah. It's just like advice.
So what made you like start just being like, I want to start talking on TikTok though? Like, what was the point where you're like, I'm going to pick up the phone and just talk to it, and I'm going to see what happens? Like, because I've done that a few times just for fun. And it's just like, I don't know, I never really did it consistently, but it's just like, what made you be like, I'm going to do this? This is my thing, you know?
The reason behind it was, there's so many. I looked at it as like, number one, a way to share my story and connect with other people, right? I look at it as like, if there's a room full of people and everyone's at the same eye level, if there's a chair in the corner and you stand up on that chair, a lot of people are going to see you and they're going to be angry at you for standing out. They're going to be, who the fuck does this guy think he is? They're going to throw shit at you, yell at you, tell you to come down. But there's also going to be a lot of people, equally as many, who are going to be like, damn, the air looks kind of nice up there. I'm going to go join him, right? So once again, going back to that target on your back thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I started posting because my idea was like, I'm just going to post shit that I wish I had heard yesterday. So anytime I have a big failure or a big success, I'm going to make a video about it. It could be something about business. It could be something about getting cheated on. Anything I think would be a little useful or helpful for me, I'm just going to journal it, but I'm going to, instead of writing it down in a book, I'm going to make a video about it. I'm just going to yap.
Yeah.
And it's like raw, short form, no editing. Like I don't even really edit too much. Like I just click the button over and over. And maybe sometimes I go back and re-record, but I usually just make it and post right away. Maybe I draft it and wait a couple hours, but
and you're posting like, I feel like, because everyone always talks about, you can only post 3 times a day or 2 times a day or at this time or that time. And I've taken from your account, I'm like, this guy just fucking posts 10 times a day sometimes. And it's like, I mean, it works. It's like some are obviously going to do better than others, but it's like, there's no freaking time.
There's no strategy.
It's just good content.
And maybe if there was, I'd be like 5 times as big. I don't know. Like if I had I have a whole team for my YouTube. It's interesting because I have a whole team for like growing my YouTube, like 4 people that work for me right now. And my YouTube's slowly growing, but it's taking longer than I expected. It'll happen.
YouTube's hard, yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen, but it's taking longer than expected. Then my TikTok was just so like,
Yeah,
there
that's
was
how
no
TikTok
intention of
should
blowing
be.
up.
It's just raw.
Just
Like
random.
TikTok, every time I try and do some intricately edited video, it never does as good as the video that's just raw and
Yapping.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I got one more question for
Sure.
you before we wrap this up. Yeah. What's next for your brand? Like, is there something that you want to either announce or just like, what's the next big thing for SQUIDHAUS? Is it a certain product? Is it a certain influencer you're working with? Like, is there something big happening that that is worth sharing?
I mean, yeah, if we're talking about just SQUIDHAUS, the clothing brand, like right now, it started with workout clothes. Obviously, the first thing was shorts. That's what we kind of got known for. But right now, we're just trying to expand like crazy. Lots of new products, lots of variation. So it just came out with like this running collection that's doing really well. That's like our best and highest quality product by far. So that was working on that one for like 7 months. Really happy that's finally out. Everyone loves it. We got fighting gear coming soon, golf gear coming soon. Like I'm just trying to expand, right? And
some Nike shit.
Yeah, I literally like my goal is to have like product variation like a company like Nike, like gear and attire for every single niche.
Yeah.
But I want to have much higher quality stuff.
Yeah.
So I want like a Lululemon or a Viore type of quality, but like a variation of Nike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really don't see that many brands doing that. Like you have ASRV and they're high quality stuff, but it's really expensive. It's a little
like
bit
Aloe's a little trendy.
Aloe, but even that's like
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's kind of dorky to me,
Yeah.
honestly. So I'm doing
It's more
like a little.
like it's kind of a girly
Yeah, I look at that as like, you know,
yoga.
What someone said the other day. I look at like Aloe and Lulu and all those brands as like the blue lightsaber, and we're the red lightsaber, you know. And I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but like we're like the villains coming in, right? That's how I kind of like to look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just expanding like crazy in terms of products, and trying to fix the little holes, trying to plug the holes, right? Hire the people that know the things that I don't, like the really good ad guys. You know, bring on the experts in designing. I designed all our stuff for the first year, and it wasn't that great. Like the fact that it's done this well is honestly pretty remarkable and surprising. So now that we can actually
finding people that are good at
yeah,
what they
dude.
do.
So now that we have like designers on the team who know what they're doing, oh, it fires me up because I'm like, fuck, I can focus on selling, and then these guys can make awesome products.
Just rip you designs.
Yeah, so I'm just excited, dude. It's really it's coming together. So.
What does the name come like? What is Squid? Is it like that's your
Oh,
name?
I'm glad you asked that. Okay, so like you can name a brand. I like your guys' name. It's very unique. So many people when they start a clothing brand, they do something really generic, right?
Get money, get bitches.
Like I don't
I always see these brands on TikTok. It's like random like peace money. I don't know.
There's yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna shit on anyone's brand. Like there's a couple names out there. Like we'll say like Victory Clothing, right? When you pick like a generic name like that,
Yeah.
sure, it helps you maybe get some traction at the beginning, but there's no way you're gonna build a story around that name, right? All the coolest brands in the world, the ones that stay today, the ones that like have really grown into something massive, have very unique names. Lululemon, like I don't think that sounds cool at all. Aloe, I don't think that sounds cool at all. Even the creator of Nike, Phil Knight, like he hated the name Nike, and then finally it caught on for him and he started to like it. But you know, SQUIDHAUS is such a unique name. There's nothing else like it, and the reasoning behind it was squid is a negative term. It's like an insult, right? Weak, spineless, docile, like bottom of the food chain, right? Squids are like, yeah, bottom of the food chain in the ocean, right? And then I don't know if you've ever heard the term house or hoss before. Stud, right? Some dude walks into a room and this guy just looks like a hoss, right? You're like, that guy just exudes confidence. He knows what he's doing. You know, people look up to him, people respect him. They're complete polar opposites, right? They're antonyms. So the idea of like putting squid and hoss together is the whole brand is about growth. It's about transformation. You know, we give away a ton of free gear. Like 5% of all gear we create is given away for free to people we think embody that kind of that transformation, right? Like one thing that we just started to get known for right now, which we've been pushing a lot on socials, is like if you buy our clothes and you lose a lot of weight or you bulk up, like if you have any sort of impressive physical transformation, squid to hoss, we'll send you gear for free. No other brand is doing that out there. So the name is very unique. It has a meaning behind it. And it actually, yeah, like people, when they first heard it, was like, what the fuck does that mean, right? But I do genuinely believe in 5-10 years, people are going to be like, damn, that's sick. I really like the story behind that. So
no, that's great. I honestly had no idea that
not that many people know the reasoning behind it. Maybe that means I need to do a better job at explaining it more. So
yeah, no, that's really good insight though, and that's like a great, yeah, that actually is like, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's like branding is all about being true to yourself and something that's true to you. Like this right here is like my first AZVA. It's an acronym that not really many people know what it stands for. But it was just my 14-year-old high school self made an Instagram page, Arizona Vintage Apparel, reselling vintage. I don't advertise it as X. We don't sell vintage anymore. It's just AZVA. But yeah, just something that's true to yourself, I think is really important and really will bring that uniqueness, and it will make it harder to let go because, like I said before, business is all about just persevering, getting through the shitty times, not giving up. And if you have something that's like true to yourself, I feel that you're not going to give up on something that's like a part of you. So it just makes a big difference in my opinion.
100%, bro.
But yeah, like even my best friend got AZVA tatted on him when we had 4,000 Instagram followers.
That's lit.
Yeah, and now we have 40. We just hit 40K. So, and now I'm looking at him like, thank you, man. Yeah,
that'll be a cool story once you guys are like really massive one day.
Yeah.
Dude will be like, yeah.
Tattoo's going to be there forever. My best friend, Nick. Shout out, Nick. But yeah, I mean, that concludes everything I want to talk about. I appreciate you hopping on here. We're out here in Austin, Texas with Lukas, Squid, the king of TikTok. But yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This was a great conversation. I hope it gave you guys some insight. Hope it just gave you guys like a little bit of our stories, how he got to where he's at, how I got to where I'm at. And you can take some inspo from that and, yeah, just go after your passion and go after something you really care about because it's rewarding and you don't want to be locked in to that job that you hate every day. It's just not a way to live, in my opinion. So go after something you really care about. So
one last thing I want to add, too, and this is something I wish someone would have told me at the beginning, is like your first business, you should just go into it with the idea and the mindset that it is not going to be the big one. Right? If it ends up being the big one, if it turns into something you could have never imagined, like that's fucking awesome. And you know what? Like shoot for the stars, right? But like the reality is just go into it looking at it as a learning experience. I'm just going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to learn as much as possible. I'm going to try a lot of things. I'm going to fail. And like that's the most valuable experience you can get, whether it is a clothing brand or a tech company or, you know, roofing for someone's houses, cleaning cars, whatever. Like just go into it with the mindset of, this is my first business. I'm going to start this because it's going to be really fun. It's going to be like playing a game. I just have to level up my character, and I'm going to learn as much as possible on this first run.
100%. Yeah. And we got him dripped out in the AZVA. Got him that Cactus Valley. Heather
great quality, great clothes. I love it already.
I just paid him $100 to say that. No, I'm kidding. No, that's good. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.